is, what are we missing so far? And the answer is our apps don't have a shared data source, right? So we've been making these to-do list apps, and technically there's two problems with them. One, let's say I make a to-do list app, and I add all my to-dos, I set up my timer to finish a couple sessions, and then I accidentally press refresh, right? Everything's gone, right? Our apps don't actually preserve state between refreshes. That's a problem that can be solved using something called local storage. Feel free to look into it, but you can have save data over between refreshes. But another issue is, so I think someone was talking to me about making a game for their final React project, and they wanted to have a high scoreboard, right? But the problem there is that the React app running on my computer, right? Even if you and I are both running the same React app that someone built in this class, right? They have no way to talk to one another, right? There's no idea of this shared state across multiple versions of a website. Does that kind of problem make sense, right? So in one case, we the high score, right? If a bunch of people are loading the same React app, playing some game, well, how are they going to tell each other, where are we going to put the high score, right? If we put high score in state, then my state is still different than your state, right? So there's this problem of shared data across different versions. So let's actually take a second, look what this looks like, what I'm talking about here. So this is an app that I made, that we made for this lecture. And then this is our starter code for today, by the way. This is an app that we made, and it's a pretty simple blog post app, right? So, this is a cool post, author, Avant, content, this is some neat content, and if I press submit, great, blog post by Avant, April 25th, this is some neat content, right? This is good stuff, but if my friend, opens this link, or if any of you open this link, and they saw it, the blog post would be empty, right? And if we want this to be an actual blog, right, then everyone opening the links should share the same blog posts, right? State shouldn't actually be local to our React app when it comes to blog posts. It should be kind of shared, or in this case, I want it to be shared among everybody who has this React app, right? And I guess so let's see what this looks like, right? How do we actually solve this problem? This image is very large. I'm going to try to open it up in a bigger version. Let's look at this image real quick. Oh, yikes. Okay, well that's unfortunate. All right, well we'll try our best to try to understand it, I guess. We can kind of see it. There's this idea of these 3 different clients, right? We call what we're building in this class, right? These one-page React apps that we've built so far, they are, when we kind of abstract it away, a bundle of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, right? They act kind of independently of anything else. Everyone who visits our website is going to get just sent this same bundle, right? And right now they have no connection to each other, right? And the way we kind of form this shared data source is we have to have a web server that they all connect to, right? So here are in some sense, 3 different laptops, or a phone, a laptop, a desktop, all having the same website open, right? And the way that they have this shared, the thing that's shared between them is this server right here. And they all communicate through the internet. I'm sorry the picture's not super clear, but yeah. So this is kind of the goal, or this is the way that, this is the kind of final piece of the puzzle that this class doesn't really get into. But it's this idea of this one server that all instances of your app communicate with to kind of have shared data, right? When you use Facebook, right? When you log in, right? Everyone's you must keep all the data about every user on Facebook in one central location, and that is the server, right? When people talk about back-end development, that's what they're talking about. Front end is always HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? Back end is what is going on in this one central server that each of these web apps are talking to. What questions do we have about this idea? This idea of these clients and a server. What questions do we have? Is this pretty straightforward? I don't know. I think it's kind of weird, but questions? Anyone? All right. I'm glad that this is pretty straightforward. So yeah, so this is what we want. We want to find a way to create or have this kind of shared data source. And of course, in this class, this is a whole this idea of a shared data source is a very we have an entire other class, the Ruby on Rails DeCal. Hopefully, we'll be running next semester. Look out for it. about how we create the shared data source. But for our projects, we might want something like this. So why can't I go next? Cool. Oh. How do we accomplish this? So some ways that people might be familiar with accomplishing this are common frameworks like Express. Express is a web server framework. Ruby on Rails is another web server framework. Django, Flask. These are all different frameworks that function as this central data server that all the kind of clients communicate with. And each of those apps usually kind of make SQL queries to their own local SQL database. So in this central server, we'll have a program running that receives these requests that people send to it to talk to it. And they also have a kind of the central data where they share data between each other. Right? So Express and Ruby on Rails, if you've heard of that kind of stuff, that's where they fit into this picture. They are the central web server. And usually they communicate via requests. What we're going to be talking about today, however, is Firebase. So Firebase is kind of a simplified, like, when we want to deal with Express and Ruby on Rails, we have to set up a brand new application. We have to find a server to host it. We have to do all these things. There's at least 10 million things that can go wrong in between that process, right? It's a whole other layer of work to have to deal with. But Firebase is actually perfect for what I would say we do in this class. Firebase handles the data layer of our application. It doesn't deal with actually it can deal with a lot of other stuff, but Firebase you can very simply kind of have set up a database that each of your clients can work with. And that's what we're going to do today. You're all going to set up your own Firebase database and make that blog app that I just showed you into a real-time kind of shared data source blog app. So if you each open it up on your own computers or you gave your friend the link, then you guys can both add blog posts to the exact same app. So that's our goal today. Let's see, did I have any more slides? All right, fantastic. So let me show you what this looks like. I think this is the Firebase version. So we see there's already some posts here. I don't know who made these. Let's make some more. Hello, Avant, in lecture content. This is a lecture post, right? So I'm actually going to show you right here. This is my Firebase database that I opened up. I want to show you guys what's happening here. So you'll get a little bit better of understanding of what you're looking at right now. But I just want to show you that this is my database. There are 3 posts inside. Here's that title, oh my god, post hello, author hello. Right? If I press submit here, oh gosh, what happened? Did I break it? Oh.
Sorry. Is it free render or something? Wait, try again, sorry.
Ethan might be messing with me here.
Yeah,
here it is. Wait, Avant lecture, right here. I did change something where for some, I renamed some variables so the post isn't showing up, but in yours it will. What we can see is that I press submit, it entered, and then if we look in our Firebase thing, now there's 4 posts, right? And here it is. Avant lecture, content, this is a lecture post, date is the timestamp where we rendered it, and title is there, right? And now if the whole idea, which you guys will explore today in class, is that if you open multiple versions, everyone on this website shares this one Firebase, this one database. This is our shared state for all the blog posts. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what we're going to be building in class. You'll be trying to turn our blog post app that uses a local state into using Firebase as our kind of source for all the blog posts. Questions on what I just said? It's a little bit confusing. We have a lab guide for doing this, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end of class to walk through the process. But questions before we begin? All right, I think it's live on the portal. Let's just check. Ethan, is it live in the portal? Okay, it's not live in the portal. It'll be live in the portal in 2 minutes. Anyway, you guys can look here for it. Yeah, if there's no questions, we'll tell you when we get it up online, which will be in literally 1 minute. But yeah, go ahead and start. I guess you can't start, but now? Yes, Firebase Live Demo. Okay, great. Wow. So you click this, and you can get started. It'll involve you signing into Google, creating your own Firebase kind of database, setting everything up, and yeah, cool. Go. Music.